I hope everybody has had a good week. And in typical fashion, we're going to start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So feel free to take yourself off mute, put it in the chat. And today's question is going to be, what is the hardest class you've ever taken? Doesn't matter what level, how you took it, but what is the hardest class you've ever taken? I think for me, it was probably organic chemistry. That class is hard. Statistics. Oh, Lori, don't say that. I started a statistics class last night. Constitutional law. Yes, that sounds like a lot of reading. Poli-sci. Remember, people like do these things as a living, for a living, and it just blows my mind how smart they are. Anybody else want to share the hardest class they've ever taken? Calculus. Yes. And again, we have engineers that are really good at calculus and I don't quite get how their brains work. Well, awesome. Thanks everybody for indulging me. I am, again, happy Wednesday. It is April 7th. With the first quarter of the year done, I figured we could check in on our New Year's resolutions and goals and see where we're at. So if you all want to take a quick minute to grab a beverage, a pen, a piece of paper, we're going to do a little bit of writing and thinking, and I want to make sure you all have something tangible to walk away with. So I'll give you about a minute or two if you want to go grab those things, and I'm going to do it with you. Perfect. Anybody need any more time? Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs up if you're good to go. How about that? Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Patricia. Awesome. Thank you. So, just a couple statistics for you. Lori, I'm going to tap into that. Statistics was a difficult class. This is all coming from discoverhealthyhabits.com. There's a really interesting article that I read about all of this. And the statistics current in this slide look at 2020 and how folks did with their resolutions. It's pretty similar to 2019. I think actually a little bit better than 2019. So the pandemic didn't have a huge impact on resolutions and success. As you can read, 31% of their survey participants made a plan for 2021 resolutions. With the most common, and these are seen year after year, increasing physical activity, losing weight, saving money, and improving their diet, incorporating healthy eating, those types of things. So I think it's very fascinating that we all have very similar ideas of what we want to do to improve. Of all of those that made a resolution in 2020, 35% of them kept their resolution, 49% kept some of it, but only 16% failed at keeping any time a resolution. So that's really awesome that for the most part, if you have a goal, most people stick to it and they work through it, which is what we want to see. So this is where the pen and paper. Oh, not quite yet. Um, we know that resolutions fail, at least in um, probably the full grand scheme of things of how we want to see success. But you don't have to be one of those that falls victim to that failure. The ways that we can do that, again, from that discoverhealthyhabits.com. Number one is to focus on one goal at a time. I know I can be one of those that writes down an entire list of all the things that I want to accomplish. And that can be really overwhelming and really daunting. And then life happens and we beat ourselves up when we don't get to the list. So focusing on one manageable goal at a time is always recommended. Consider your timing. There's never a perfect time to start. Not next Monday, not next month, not at the beginning of the year. You can start working towards a goal at any time. And it doesn't have to be like a certain time of day, whatever works best for you. This one's actually really interesting. Get plenty of sleep. If we look back at those four main resolution types, so exercising more, eating well, losing weight, and being more mindful with money and a budget, all four of those are impacted by our quantity and our quality of sleep. Sleep makes us overeat, especially the things that we probably don't want a whole lot of. So those sugary things, our body knows that, oh, I don't have a ton of energy. I want to eat all the sugar for energy. Same thing with exercise. We get really sleepy. We may not go to the gym. And if we do, our workout may not be as effective as we want it to because we're tired. And that's where we see injuries. If you're a little bit more tired than other times, you might be prone to bad form, overdoing it, underdoing it, things like that. And then with budgeting, same idea comes into it. Just being alert and aware of your spending habits, where you tend to be a little bit more tuned into those things when we're plenty rested. And the last indicator of what's like if resolutions are going to be successful is self-efficacy and the readiness to change with a predicted positive outcome. So if right now you are not in a space to lose weight, that is okay. And maybe it's time to focus on something else, on a different goal. Because are you really truly ready to make this change? And we all come up with a list of excuses and reasons why we can't be successful. So if that's happening with you, maybe it's time to look at a different goal, or saying, not right now, I'm going to try again in a month or whatever it could be. So this is where that pen and paper come in handy. So there's a series of questions, and we can share this out. Again, all of these are posted. So if you want these questions at a later time, please let us know. We're going to spend some time working through these. So we're going to take one resolution or goal that you have either currently that you started this year, if it's a New Year's resolution or not, just think of something. What is the status of that goal? So an example of this, I believe I shared that my goal this year was to read more for fun and read at least one book a month. The status of that in the name of accountability. I've read about a fourth of a book this year, not necessarily where I want to be. Why haven't I done the follow through? Because there's plenty of other things to do at the end of the day. And I don't want to read what worked, what didn't work. What works, I keep my book on my nightstand before I go to bed. What didn't work, I like to go to bed really early, and reading for 20 extra minutes just doesn't seem like a good fit. Then you ask yourself, am I ready to commit to this goal? Like, maybe I'm not ready to commit to reading a book a month with my lack of success. or maybe I'm not committed to increasing my physical activity because of X, Y, and Z. So let's start with those four. Take a minute to think about it, address it, and we can come back in just a moment. And as you're working through this, I'm going to invite at least one of you to share if that's okay. Obviously, you don't have to share the personal nitty gritty pieces, but if any of you are willing to step out in a little bit of bravery, I will appreciate it. All right, does anybody need more time? Are we good? How about 60 more seconds? I'm going to take everybody's lack of responses they're writing down furiously. Okay. Obviously take as much time as you need, but just in the sake of making sure that we stay within our half an hour, I'm going to keep going. Is anybody willing and able to share either a resolution or a goal that they have that they are like kicking butt at, or probably need a little bit of support or anything? That's okay. So we're going to continue down this list with that goal that you have in mind. Um, we're going to plan out what we can do to either continue the good work or start new. What steps can you take this week, and what steps can you take for the rest of the month? We have a whole 4 more weeks of April, 3 more weeks of April. So what can you do this week? What can you do for the rest of the month to be successful? Oh, she already did. And then with this goal, what barriers and obstacles do you face? Research shows that common reported reasons of failure or not achieving our goal is that it's too lofty of a goal. So you want to lose 35 pounds a month probably isn't the right time frame for that. It's going to be a little lofty. You didn't track your goal, you didn't write it down, you didn't develop an action plan, and you're not checking in with yourself. You forgot that you made a goal. That's okay. We're human. That's part of the human condition. And the last one is that you made too many goals. So maybe backing off by one or two, focusing on one thing at a time. And then another question that might be a little uncomfortable for some of us to ask ourselves, but what excuses am I making? We'll go back to my original goal of wanting to read a book a month. What excuses am I making? I could be making the excuse that I'm too tired, that um, I have to work all day and then go to school. So I'm making these excuses and I'm just too busy, that, I rather watch the new thing on Netflix. I rather spend time with my partner and my family. Um, what excuses are you telling yourself? They can both be internal, external. Um, what's getting in your way? And then lastly, who's available for support and accountability? I like to call them accountability buddies. So is this your spouse, your partner, a coworker, the nice person you know at the gym? Maybe it's somebody in your book club, whatever it could be. Um, and then plan out how often you're going to reach out for support and for that accountability check in. Do we have any questions with those 8 those questions? Any thoughts? Anything like that? Perfect. As always, you can catch up on our videos. We record all of these and we put them online. With last week's little hiccup with the Zoom link, that one unfortunately didn't record the right way, so that one's not up. But if you would like any of the questions that we asked and any of the answers, feel free to reach out. You can share any of these past wellness chats with your friends, families, colleagues, all of that. You don't have to be through a password protected website to access these. What's coming up in the next few weeks? April is National Stress Awareness Month, so we're going to talk about stress, our brain, and how to kind of work through that. Especially now as things start opening back up again, there's probably a little bit of extra tension there. The following week, we're going to talk about building and sustaining an exercise regime that works for you. And then, as always, our last Wednesday of the month is that Health Coach Q&A. Feel free to send us your questions. The link for the form to submit those is the same every month. Feel free to connect with us if you haven't already. We're available by email, phone, and chat, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Mountain Standard Time. You can also connect with us on social media if you're a Facebook user. Awesome, and that's all I have for you today. I hope that this was helpful, gave you a couple questions to consider as you check in with yourself moving forward. Our goal here at Incenta Health is to make sure that you are the happiest and healthiest that you can be. So I hope this helped.